Alright guys, I've tried to record this video about 3 times now, or well, 2 times now, and this is the 3rd attempt, and it keeps shutting me out here, which I've not had any trouble shooting any of these videos in other classes or even previous times. So I'm not sure what's happening here, but let me give you a quick rundown of basically what I have been talking about without trying to re-erase it and go through the whole shape. So let me draw one thing. Okay, this is the shape that we started with right here. So this is for questions 3 and 4 on the Tuesday's MathXL assignment, and I'm just working through the worked example. So this is the original shape in the original problem here. All right. Now what I have done is I've drawn that obviously bigger here, and what I can do is if the 7 goes from the center going up, the 7 would also be from the center going down left and down right. All right. When I do that, I have created 3 congruent triangles, which is how I'm going to try to find the area of this shape. I'm not going to use the formula that they give us in the worked example. I'm going to find the area of one of these triangles and then just multiply it by 3. Okay? So that's going to be a little bit different than what they're saying. They're trying to ask you to find some different pieces of information, the perimeter, the apothem, things like that. Let's just find the area of one triangle, and then we'll go about doing that. So here's how I'm going to find the area of just one triangle. Around any shape in the middle, it's just 360 degrees. Okay? So if I want to find the measure of each of these inside angles, I just take 360 and divide it by the amount of triangles that I drew in this shape. In this case, I drew 3 triangles. Okay? One from the center to every vertex. That's going to give me 120 degrees for every vertex angle for that triangle, right? So you can see that these two I made 120, right? I purposely didn't write 120 down here, but it would be there. But what I did was I drew a perpendicular bisector. Okay, so now I know that those angles are 60 right there, and that's what you want to do every time. Okay, when we can do that. And what I have just created is I have just created a 30, 60, 90 degree triangle. Now, here's what I have on a 30-60 degree triangle. Remember, we have our side, that's the shortest. The 60 degree side has a relationship of that side times the square root of 3, and the longest, the hypotenuse, has the side times the square root of 2. So I have to decide which one is the 7. Is the 7 across from the 60? Is it across from the 30? Or is it across from the 90 degree angle? And that's where it is, right? It's across from the 90 degree angle. Okay? So how would I do this? If I were to find the 30 degree side, I would just divide it by 2, right? So that just means it's 3.5. I would take the 60 degree side, which is just 3.5 times the square root of 3. Right? So if I were to label this right here, okay? I'm going to take one of these 60s off just so I have a little more space to write it. The 30 degree side was 3.5. This right here is just 3.5 square root of 3. So that means that if I added up the entire side right here, right, the entire length of it, and I'll show you just up here, this would just be 7 square root of 3. Okay? So this entire bottom is just 7 square root of 3. So how do I find the area of any kind of just triangle, right? Isn't that just 1/2 of the base times the height? So if I have 1/2 times the base and the height, I could just plug the numbers in. The base, like I said, was 7 square root of 3. The height is just 3.5. Move this up here just so we can see it. Well, what we do is we just use our calculator. Okay, so I have 3.5 times 1/2 times it by 7 times it by 3, that's in the square root. That area right here is just 21.21. Okay, that's just for one triangle. Right? Well, if I wanted to do this here, I could now just find it for 3 triangles. Right? This is the amount of triangles that I just drew in my shape right here. There's a total of 3 big triangles. So if I have that, wouldn't that just be 61.61 meters squared? Okay, so guys, make sure that you're using this idea with triangles here. Okay, break them up into smaller pieces, use your 30, 60, 90 degree shortcuts, and go from there. All right, hope this was helpful, and I'll see if I can get some more about some of the later problems.